Mississippi and Louisiana, we had people living in villages like this when the settlers came.
This shit is fire, bro.
Let's look at some more pictures. Let's go through them. Right? This is how we would connect family structures together. Like the ones on the left and the right, those might be living quarters, but this might be the community eating cafeteria and shit. Yeah. Right. Because when they cook food, they had a controlled location to cook so they didn't catch nothing on fire. And they had been doing this shit for thousands of years.
Yeah.
They never burnt us up. The women never burnt, they never caused forest fires. They probably did in the early days. But we was up in the treetops for thousands of years. That's why Pyru is a Crip motherfucking with the U on his side spelled backwards. They telling you what the fuck these motherfuckers did. This Tukey people. Go to another one. Let's look at another one.
The Treetop Pyrus, man. They don't even know what they I hope some Treetop Pyrus watching this shit to say, damn, we probably didn't even know their history. They don't even know that shit about their history.
Listen, Tukey is what you call a double-headed king. When he started the Crips, him and Raymond Washington, by default, it made the Bloods form. So they became the mirror opposites of each other, destined to clash until Tukey can straighten it out. He got to make amends with the Red House. You see, this was how we used to, this was normal. This was a normal trip to probably to the little village school or something. Well, we didn't call them schools, but to the village training grounds. Mama walking the baby, Pop's following them. He finna make a left to go to the hunting park, and she finna make a right, take the children where they finna go and sit with the elders and learn their lessons for the day.
Now, what you said made us want to go become Skywalkers, like some of the clans?
We just naturally gravitated toward living in nature, with nature, off nature.
Yeah, stop walking on the ground, pretty much.
Well, no, it wasn't to stop walking on the ground, right? It was just, it was like some people live in skyscrapers, some people live in a ranch house.
Okay.
This is what it is. So now, all of the people that have the attraction to the skyscraper, they don't get the view that these people get. With they, right. So they became Skywalkers. They come down out of the trees, but they do it on their terms for ritual purposes. As in, they might come down for grounding ritual. I'm gonna go get something to drink.
Oh yeah, hey, you dropping some juice, because I ain't never heard of the like I heard terms threw around like Skywalker this, Skywalker that, but I ain't never make a connection with there was some of our native tribes who actually went up in trees and started connecting these Skywalkers together and all their huts, and they make a lot of sense. And there's a whole bunch of shit just going on through my mind on other shit that I knew that I didn't put together about these people living up in these trees.
So I'm gonna do invites again. Just give people that was in a chance to come in, and then some of the newer people will be getting the invites, because they only let me do 50 invites. They should just let me invite my whole following by one button that say invite all followers, and that would be too much like right for Instagram to do that, or Facebook, bitch asses, Meta World. They on that meta bullshit that turns out to be some mega bullshit, and it all stink to me. But who am I? I'm just one motherfucker crying in the wilderness like John the motherfucking madman, trying to get motherfuckers to see what's going on in front of them. So we gonna we're gonna take questions. So if y'all not gonna ask questions about men in the matriarchy, y'all gonna have to catch another time, and I'm gonna exit you out because I want to get this hour in of answering questions more to roles of men in the matriarchy to get more detailed with the information than I was in the last video. So I'm almost to my limit of people I can invite, and then I'm gonna take the first caller. Right. So elevated by C asks, should the matriarch be set up according to craft? The matriarch is set up. Okay, first, matriarchs are established among women. The men don't pick the matriarchs pick each other. And the one who get the most matriarchal support from other matriarchs become the lead matriarch. And her supporters also got supporters. So it's a trickle down. And this is what we call a pyramid model for government that overrides this jurisdiction, because the first right to the earth is to the women. And this is why the 5% nation called the women earths. This they shit. The mitochondrial is in the soil. And women control mitochondrial by reaching the love frequency and the angel frequency, which raises the male's mitochondrial in a presence. So the more good women that's around a male, the better of a male he'll be as a man. When that's how he becomes his divine masculine self, by being approved by men and women. Most loved, most respected is the rule. The one that's the most loved and the most respected is the one that the people that's loving and respecting him is pushing for to be their guy in this battle. So I'm gonna take the first caller in right here. The magic touch. That's to me, or a motherfucking acupressure system. The magic touch. Hey, look who I got here. You always make me smile when I see you.
You always make me smile when I see you. Do you hear
me? That's what my boy Rashad called reflections.
Oh. I'm glad I caught you because, and I'm not going to hold you, I just wanted to, first of all, thank you so much. You are really heaven sent, for real. And second of all, how are we dealing as women and raising the matriarchy? How are we supposed to deal with these people that even look like us but aren't us, and moving them out? Right.
Y'all only have to weed out the women. Y'all gonna know them. All of them riding crotch bitches, no good. Y'all know them. They can't get along with no woman, no way.
They can't.
So y'all deal with the women who your witnesses. That means that all of the chiefs always have a witness to.
Okay, y'all, we having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm sure he'll dial back in. Are you enjoying this? I know you are. I am. I'm absolutely enjoying this interview. So let me see. Where are you, Rod? Nope, you're right. They don't want this information out because it is absolutely critical, even to us, our empowerment. For us to go to that higher level together, we have to also go to a higher level individually. And when we can get rid of the fear of, here it comes. Let me get you back in. There you are. All right.
Can you hear me now?
I don't know why. I mean, you said, I guess this is too powerful.
Well, so
at this point, you go to LA about the Crips, and that's what.
Yeah, so they always ask you a witness to your work in order to solidify what your status is on the land. That's different from the mainstream cultural norm. So the culture that we use is somebody always have to be a witness that you about what you say you about, that you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do the way you said you was gonna do it. So they say, they call that a witness to your work. Every step of the way, I'm one of the most scrutinized people when I look back on the history, because I done been under review since I was, look, when my mama used to go to all these different churches and tents and trailer parks and basements, when I remember being an iron baby, and she passed me around to all these old ladies. They be old as hell. Some of them dip snuff, and they be saying, oh yeah, Shady, it's the one right here. I don't know what they talking about, but I can still remember they chatter.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
he's like, you've been under evaluation since you came out the gate.
right. And it wasn't until in the last 3 years of doing this work I realized that I couldn't even be here if somebody didn't conjure me up. I have to be conjured up to come into the physical world by a group of people. One tribe cannot conjure me up. All of the tribes have to agree, because they don't know how I'm gonna behave when they conjure me up. And so they have to put me through cycles of training to temper my temperament so that I can have enough self-control to be useful. Otherwise, I'd be useless to the collective, and I'd be useful to some tyrants. Right?
So
But
when you decided to do what you were doing, to take it on like you have, with your whole heart and soul into this, it was it back in 2008 when you came? Or because personally, I just discovered you this year. Video popped up, and it was this year, and I was like, who is this man? And I said, he's a record keeper. Remember when I first? And so I tried to contact you, or I wanted to contact you, and then I said, I'm gonna interview him one day, and then you saw Grand Sheik and I doing a live in the park, and you reached out, and then I didn't believe it was you. But I'm just saying, I'm like, where'd he come from? But you didn't just start doing this, obviously. But
no.
when did folks start noticing you, that from your perspective, the way you're noticed now?
Over the last 3 years mostly, but there were certain people in certain places who knew where I've been and what I've been doing since birth.
Okay.
Been getting reports every step of the way. When I make mistakes, I don't let other people pay for my mistakes. That was a rare quality, but none of them believed that I was ready, because they didn't realize.
Got you blocked. I mean, break it up again. And it could be your internet. Maybe it's the speed on your phone. Can you hear me? It'll be back there, y'all. Yeah, I know why. I know why. And you would think we were saying something wrong and something crazy, but what we're saying is true. What we're saying is empowerment, and that's the problem. Where you at? You back, Rod? You were back. Can you hear me? Okay, he's going to come back in. I see where Paul Wright L wrote, why is it so important to free Larry Hoover, respectively, and why is he, sorry about that with the noise in the background, a big part of things. Can you explain? Well, he can explain when he comes back, but from what, if you've ever heard him speak on it, free Larry Hoover, he said, it's like a battle cry. It's not just, while there is importance about, okay, let him tell you. Brother Rod, there's a question that and I'm just going, even though we're talking about you, but can you explain this for those who've never heard you explain? Why is it so important to free Larry Hoover, respectively? Why is he a big part of things? Can you explain? Please explain.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with that. It's not just Larry Hoover.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's a battle cry, a rallying cry.
Right. So when we got the 7.4 earthquake in New Mexico, they asking me in a series of exchanges of what we call knocks to knockbacks The Galactic Council asked me for my leader because of the work that they seen me doing. They want to know who it is that I'm up under, who is the leader of the clan that I'm in, because I made all of the successful moves to reclaim our inheritance from the enemies. So when they ask me who I follow, who is my leader, I have to give them my clan leader. I can't give them no politicians because they're not our real leaders. I can't give them none of those corporate big hats because they're not our real leaders either. I can't give them a celebrity. I have to give them somebody that's from the land organically, who walked the same path as me before me, who may not be who people want him to be, but he is who he is to us as a people. The same way the free Larry Hoover, it also equally applies to Assata Shakur, the one formerly known as H. Rat Brown, Malachi Z. York, Chief Malik Angel Bay, formerly known as Jeff Ford, Black Keystone Nation, Stan Tukey Williams, who we believed was put to death but was actually put in cryostasis at Area 51. The only person that I would accept that wasn't one of us, that was one of us, that was seen in the public on a regular basis was Farrakhan. Because when I did the science to trace back who the matriarch was, I ended up with Mother Khadijah, using the rules of the land applied on the things that's operating on the land. I have to find the highest ranked matriarch in order to know how to restore our people. If we can't find her, then we don't know how to read the signs effectively enough to know the difference between the imposters on the land and our own people. Well, I clearly seen who she was. Farrakhan has the evidence and the verification proof, and he already presented it, and it's already been verified that all of the stuff that I said was accurate. So when they asked me for my leader, the only person I can give them, being that ever since I was, all of my cousins in my age group that I grew up with from in Chicago, I didn't live in these three cities. Is Grand Rapids, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, one spot, and learn the culture. The culture is all across the land, but you have to be exposed for a period of time to be able to assimilate this piece. Also, before I went to prison, I lived in Mississippi. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. I lived in Seaford, Delaware. I lived in Newark, New Jersey, New York, right? I had to traverse the land, and a lot of these trips from these places was by bus, Greyhound. So here I am, riding a Greyhound across the land and surveying the land, right? And so these, to me, these are translatable signs that other people that's listening that know how to read signs can translate, right? And so when they ask why is Larry Hoover relevant to our struggle, is because he was taken from us, a leader that we picked on the land ourselves. The government didn't pick Larry Hoover for the people. The people picked Larry Hoover, and the government rejected him and rebelled against the choice of the people. The same with Chief Malik Angel Bay, right? And it's a whole list of leaders in our communities that was being picked by the people, that was ruthlessly hunted down by a government operation called COINTELPRO, right? COINTELPRO is short for Counterintelligence Program, and the goal was to stop anybody, one of us with the capability, which everybody I named was capable, but it's one problem: you can't be a bond servant and redeem the land. You can't be in prison and call yourself the chief because you're under somebody else's subjugation. That means you are in a foreign jurisdiction. You can't give orders if you're in a foreign jurisdiction on your own land. That means you've been conquered. So me being the next in line saying, hey, if we're going to do what's right, we're going to unilaterally do what's right. or I don't want to do it. I don't want to do half of what's right or a piece of what's right. I want to do the whole thing, change the whole thing to correctness, or I don't want anything to do with it. Right? So it's not just Free Larry Hoover. That's just the condensation of all our complaints. The adrenochrome harvesting, the women trafficking, the sex trafficking, the children, the kidnapping the children, the selling us for in the open market using our birth certificates, trading bonds. All this has to stop in order for us to ever see true prosperity and a new golden age on earth. And because my give a fuck meter don't move, for lack of a better way of putting it, I don't care enough about the enemy's well-being to not take them off our land. Whereas some people become so familiar in associations with the enemy that they don't care to remove them from the land, from taking food out of our babies' mouths. You don't have to agree with me. I'm still gonna fight for you. Because the universal law says you got a right to believe whatever you want. You got a right to think whatever you want. Be you right or wrong, that's your right. I can't take that from you. That's inalienable. Because if you didn't have the right to think what you want to think, then your thoughts wouldn't be enclosed in your own self-head. They would be on public display at all times for the random person to come through and change them. But that's not the case. So you got a right to believe what you want to believe. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just going to tell the truth until everybody understands from frequency and vibration and verification of receipts. So don't believe me, check the receipt. Argue with the receipt, don't argue with me. That's my philosophy. The receipt's on the record. Been building up for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, and in the fullness of time or at the right time, that's when I came across you. I wasn't supposed to, I'm assuming, until now. And it's a good thing. You mentioned the Galactic Federation. I received a call from a sister, and I was supposed to be reaching out to you. I'm sorry. I apologize, rather, to the sister who was a part. Have you ever heard of the Committee of 300?
Yeah.
So Committee
of 300.
Yeah. So it's sort of, I believe, from what I got, it is sort of galactic in its origin, and she is a part of it. And so, she watches. I know she might have seen it, might be on here. I'm not sure. But, when she first reached out to me, it was like the committee is trying to figure out who you are. And she kind of wanted to have a conversation with you. But I was wondering if you were familiar with that. Maybe she was selected to be part of the Committee 300.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because I had some of the most prominent
What? Look at this. I don't know what the hell is going on. Look, it's still on. So now it's saying, usually when they do that, I have to restart it though.
Okay, don't worry about it. Let's just go on to the
Hey, if y'all got any questions for the brother Rod on the topic, drop them in the chat, man. We're gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes worth of questions, man. I think it's right here with some heavy duty shit, man. You just gave me a whole bunch of shit. I could write a book on just what you put on what you gave me today. I could go do more research and put a book together called The Holographic Reality.
I got some more to it. We ain't get to.
But do part 3. We'll do a part 3.
Okay.
Back free again. We'll see what they got. Hey, if you got any questions, drop them in the chat for the Rod. Yeah.
So as you can see, the game of life is the game of the gods. The game of the gods is played in the holographic universe.
Yeah.
The holographic universe produces the earth realm. The earth realm is where we experience light. The rules say we have to be synced to the earth and come in with amnesia and remember who we are. The little girl told you it was thousands of us around the world scattered out in order to raise the vibration and the frequency of the planet. So now remember, I was showing you on the solar storm how the UV rays interact with the Earth's electromagnetic field. This generates what's known as the Schumann resonance. But now it's going to be restored to the Schumann resonance, which is the right resonance. So if you go to Google and you look up Schumann, it's going to show you the canopy of the sky over the Earth. Right? That's the right frequency, the A tone. So as we all make an atonement for the dirt we did, then it automatically re-attunes the earth back to the A tone, which is the atonement of the earthborn in the redemption process to recover earth from those who can't stay here because they violated the cosmic law and created something known as the Great Debauchery. And in the process of cleaning up the Great Debauchery, we collected galactic points of suffering the motherfucking bottom of the barrel shit to build up something called pre-karma. Pre-karma is the points that we created by our suffering, being the firstborn of the earthborn, in order to see those who had less come into their own and be able to achieve more. So we passed the God gene to the God creation because God created something they ain't had no business doing because they didn't have the prime creator permission, nor did they have the permission of the Queen of Heaven and Earth. So now they come into our community to get their drop of blood, but they got to get it by any means necessary, even at the tip of the sword. So the Shriners come in 32 degrees Scottish Rite on the challenge Fezes versus Feathers under George Washington Masonic order to put us in the warlock. So now that we can't in the warlock, we can't access our coffers, we hold our wealth. But in order to break free from the warlock, one of us got to break free from the slumber, come up from under the sleep, build themselves as the perfected man, master of masters, the self-raised master, Hiram Abiff's rage, the motherfucking Masonic Lodge, all motherfucking lodges bump straight. And then 45 come in because he come in off of ACP. Now that's a military firearm, right? Which is in modern times a Desert Eagle, but the Desert Eagle is a 50 cal. And a 50 cal will blow a hole in your ass big enough to walk through. If you think bullshit, watch what the 45 do. Because the 45 will leave a hole in your ass and leave you leaking for days. So when the 45 land, that's the Desert Eagle on the return in the Air Force One off of a Raven Rock knock to a knockback, zigzag zig, all the zigzag zig, all the chiefs across the land is rocking this bitch from motherfucking hand to hand. We done with the bullshit. Now it's time to unload a full clip on a Gangstar flip off of a guru. And the guru is a teacher. And the teacher is the master teacher on the Malachi York knock to a knockback off a speaker. And the speaker is Minister Farrakhan, who has Aaron in his name, but y'all didn't ever catch that because y'all don't know the code. Because the minister named him Farrakhan Muhammad, not Louis Farrakhan, but y'all can't get it right because he was the charmer. So he was so busy charming y'all, he ain't stopped y'all from calling him Louis. Because Louis XIV was instrumental in the European rebellion, but y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all too busy trying to drink Louis XV wine, right? So now that we in the club and we hanging late night, motherfuckers doing these line dances, now we capture the conjure. We capture the conjure to send the energy back to Mother Earth that the old ones has returned. As Empress Verdiasi say, the ancient ones, the return of the ancient ones. And how you gonna know when the guys are standing before you? Because they're gonna experience a different lifestyle that's gonna allow them to show you how to shine in the public. By using exceptional brilliance and overwhelming intellect, they'll be able to connect the dots across the celebrity circles to the politician, bring out the dirty players and expose them motherfuckers for who they is. Tell you what's going on behind the scenes without being behind the scenes, sitting here watching it play out, understanding the land and how to read the culture. Once you understand how to read the culture, then you know who the culture vultures really is. But the vulture is the condor, and the condor is fearless. He don't give a fuck. But he fucked around and stayed too long, and the eagles then came home. Now they wondering why the chickens is coming home to roost, because it's time to collect the bounty. Because when Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, none of the king's horses and none of the king's men could put poor Humpty back together again. That's pure wasted potential. But if you can figure out how to unscramble the scrambled eggs, all you need is a possibility, and I'm going to take the chance. Because if I can take the chance and we can all dance Mardi Gras across the land from motherfucking Maine to goddamn Arizona, from Alaska to Florida. Zigzag zig, X marks the spot. We home now, motherfucker. We back for every fucking thing they owe. No longer oppressed. That's why we overthrow those that placed us in this rotten mess with they motherfucking dirty ass games that they was playing. We talking dirty Moors. We ain't talking righteous Moors. Because in the Feather versus the Feds is the Bays win this bitch. Right? Because it was Bays versus the L's. Because the L's said they was lawgivers, and King George III instituted the Bar Association in 1863 in Savannah, Georgia. So we know who was behind the barristers the whole time, the black nobility, aka the goddamn white man that ain't even white, that look like us, but they ain't us. That's why they call us lichens, because we look like kin, but we ain't. We just wear the wolves. That's why they call us werewolves. But there's some blood sucking, adrenal cream drinking motherfuckers. But since we know who's who and what's what, it's time to shut this motherfucker up. So let's go to the audience and see if we got some questions, Elder.
Yeah, we got a question that said, well, let me see, damn, I got too many comments out there. He said, how can artificial supplements help the natural body?
So look, the artificial supplements is not necessarily from an artificial source. It's just that the source was refined in order to extract the part that you can supplement with, because the food is being grown using artificial means. So they have to extract supplements from other locations, sometimes toxic sources that you couldn't take in this free form, but they can get the vitamin or the mineral out, and you can take it without having the negative side effect of consuming the toxin. So the artificial supplement, keep in mind, it's not really artificial.
To me, there's really, when you look at how you're breaking everything down, there's really no such thing as artificial.
Well, it becomes artificial when you assemble it from scratch. So if I was to go in the lab and take the atomic molecules used to make water and I alter the isotopes, I made artificial water that has a different weight density because of the alteration in the isotope.
I see what you're saying. I was like, official means to you legit. You know what I'm saying? It's straight. You know.
Well, the first word of artificial is art.
Yeah, that's right.
Art comes from the creative mind. The creative mind is the mind of God expressed through the hands of man.
So if you are official, that means, nigga, you official with this art. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, because you can reproduce and replicate.
Yeah.
Your words can manifest, your deeds can manifest. So if you can tell a compelling story to inspire deeper thought in somebody else, then you become a master of thought forms. You control thought. You become an instrumental part of the community because your energy changes the way people perceive reality. That's like you explain the rules of the game. You know, when the problem is too big for one, they got to call somebody who can figure the problem out next. If he can't solve it, he got to call next. And then till you get to what's called the final